So, if that's your thought, my source tells me that Shedeur had too much respect for Lamar Jackson, had too much respect for Jalen Hurts, and he would be in a situation where he would have needed that individual in Lamar and Jalen to get hurt in order for him to have an opportunity to play.
Breaking news doesn't just shake the NFL. It detonates like a bomb. And when that bomb comes from Cam Newton, you know it's not smoke, it's fire. In a stunning revelation, Newton exposed the truth behind Shedeur Sanders' draft decision, a truth the mainstream sports media either didn't know or didn't want you to hear. For months, Adam Schefter and others have told you that Sanders snubbed the Baltimore Ravens. But according to Newton, that's only a sliver of the real story, because Shedeur Sanders didn't just turn down the Ravens, he also passed on the Philadelphia Eagles. And he did it not out of arrogance, but out of respect for Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, two quarterbacks he saw as brothers, leaders, and idols. This isn't just a sports story. This is about loyalty, respect, and the fight to define your own destiny in a league that often scripts your story before you even take your first snap. Let's rewind the draft weekend. The Baltimore Ravens had the 141st pick, and whispers exploded across the league. Shedeur Sanders said no to Baltimore. Adam Schefter ran with it. Alex Smith criticized it. Emmanuel Acho compared it to Tom Brady's story. And fans? They roasted Shedeur on social media. Who does he think he is? He should be grateful for any shot. Declining the Ravens? That's career suicide. But here's the truth Cam Newton dropped. The media told only half the story. They painted Sanders as an arrogant rookie who thought he was too good for a winning franchise. What they left out was the other side of the coin, the conversations with Philadelphia, the respect he showed Lamar and Jalen, and the calculated decision to choose Cleveland. Cam Newton called it out directly. If you only report some of the truth and not all of the truth, you leave fans blind. You don't let them see the full picture. And the full picture? It changes everything. Imagine being Shedeur Sanders. You grew up watching Lamar Jackson, a two-time MVP who redefined what a dual-threat quarterback could be. You studied Jalen Hurts, a leader who carried the Philadelphia Eagles to a Super Bowl, a man praised as the ultimate professional and teammate. Now imagine being drafted behind them. What would your path look like? You'd carry a clipboard. You'd run a scout team. And the only way you'd see the field is if one of those stars went down injured. Shedeur didn't want his dream to be tied to another man's injury. Out of respect for Lamar and Jalen, he didn't want to be the vulture circling overhead waiting for disaster. He wanted to compete, to play, to prove himself, not to be a footnote in someone else's legacy. So when Baltimore called, when Philadelphia called, Shedeur's answer wasn't arrogance, it was respect. Respect for greatness, respect for brotherhood, respect for the game. And that brings us to Cleveland. To many, it looked insane. Why would you choose the Browns, a franchise infamous for instability, dysfunction, and quarterback chaos? Alex Smith blasted the decision, calling it short-sighted. He argued Baltimore would have been the safer landing spot, a place where Sanders could learn and develop in a stable system. But Cam Newton explained why Cleveland made sense. Look at the depth chart. Joe Flacco, a 40-year-old veteran at the twilight of his career. Dillon Gabriel, a rookie with no guarantees. That's not a roadblock, it's an open lane. For Shedeur, Cleveland wasn't about clout, it was about opportunity. The Browns represented a franchise where he could actually play. And that, at the end of the day, is the dream of every young quarterback. Newton hammered the point home. I want to go to a team where I can do what? Play. For the people in the back, play.
They have a saying that says, all money ain't good money. Yeah. And every opportunity is not really a great opportunity for where you are or what your vision is. So if you are dealing with an individual that has the utmost respect for Lamar Jackson, has the utmost respect for Jalen Hurts, that's not to say he doesn't have respect for a Joe Flacco or a Dillon Gabriel. The thought is, if I go into Cleveland, I would have more of a chance to play and compete for a position rather than hoping that an individual gets hurt.
Here's where it gets even more dramatic. When the story first broke, Cam Newton himself was critical. He went on ESPN, argued that Baltimore was the better spot, and scolded Shedeur for making what seemed like a reckless decision. But then, Newton did his homework. He spoke to his sources, he dug deeper, and what he found changed his perspective. He admitted he was wrong. He retracted his earlier take. And then he did what so few media voices do. He told the whole truth. By exposing the hidden offers from Philadelphia and Baltimore, Newton not only cleared Shedeur's name, he also flipped the narrative. What once looked like arrogance now looked like respect. What once seemed reckless now seemed strategic. Newton's shift wasn't just about Sanders, it was about holding the media accountable. He called out Adam Schefter, Alex Smith, Emmanuel Acho, and anyone else who pushed an incomplete story. As Cam said, all money ain't good money, and all news ain't the whole truth. So why did the media latch on to the Baltimore story? Why paint Sanders as the villain? Because controversy sells. Because a rookie saying no to a proud franchise like the Ravens is clickbait gold. Because making Sanders look arrogant fuels debate shows and drives ratings. But Newton ripped the mask off. He showed fans that Shedeur's decision wasn't about disrespect. It was about carving his own path. And he reminded us all that the media doesn't always give you the full truth. When Adam Schefter reported Sanders declined the Ravens, he left out the Eagles. He left out the respect. He left out the bigger picture. And in doing so, he left fans with a lie wrapped in half-truth. One of the loudest criticisms came from Emmanuel Acho, who invoked Tom Brady's story. He argued that Brady didn't care when he was drafted, that he sat behind Drew Bledsoe, that he turned out fine. But Newton shut that down with a single point. Brady only got his chance because Bledsoe got hurt. If Bledsoe stays healthy, maybe Brady never becomes Brady. That's not a blueprint, that's luck. And Shedeur Sanders wasn't about to build his future on luck or injury. He wasn't going to sit and hope someone else's misfortune opened the door. He wanted to walk through the door himself.